When we were landing in Dallas, we saw like a bunch of like sort of guys mostly
like
getting
ICE detainees.
It did not look good. It didn't look like the feeling when you see it was not a good feeling. I think it's really good leadership. It's pretty amazing to change a country from like that kind of murder rate to what they've achieved in El Salvador. It's really, really impressive and unbelievable in a way. But those changes always come at a cost. You end up building super jails and banging up gangs and arresting, jailing people without trial and all of that.
Yeah, it does come with a cost. And that's where I think some people need to look at it that way, where, you know, you look at El Salvador and how, you know, the change that's happened, like you just said, right? But those were some extreme measures were taken to have that change. And so I know on the list, like ICE, right?
Yeah.
That's an extreme measure going on right now to combat all the illegal immigrants that were let in over the past 4 years. But it's also a controversial extreme measure, right? And I have my thoughts on it. I think it's a necessary evil at times, because I do think while there are, you know, criminals, gang members, whatever else that have come into this country illegally, yes, get them out. Like, we need to disperse of all of them, especially the ones bringing the drugs in the country, the ones doing all the child trafficking, all that. But at the same time, we all know that there are hardworking illegal immigrants that have been that have made a life here, that honestly do more for this country than a normal citizen does a lot of the times. And then you see large groups of them getting deported, where you're like, okay, where do we draw the line? And I think that's where it becomes controversial with a lot of people. But at the same time, I do understand it's an extreme measure. And if you want extreme change, an extreme measure is needed at times.
It's hard, isn't it? I mean, there was a mandate. What you can no one going to say is that Trump weren't elected on a mandate to address illegal immigration. People voted for that. So then when you see it, but you know, you can't say that it was clandestine or it wasn't what we voted for. You know, whereas the Epstein files, you can say, hold on, you told us we were getting those files. But, you know, they did say we're going to deal with the problem of migration. And I was reminded, of course, of when Joe Rogan played that clip of Hillary Clinton in around 2000 and maybe a little earlier, talking about migration.
If they've committed a crime, deport them. No questions asked. They're gone. If they've been working and are law-abiding, we should say, here are the conditions for you staying. You have to pay a stiff fine because you came here illegally. You have to pay back taxes, and you have to try to learn English, and you have to wait in line.
It just shows you that it's all bollocks. Like,
yeah, well, that was back in the day when Hillary actually thought that she could win on just the votes of the American people. That's how the Democrats thought they could win, on just having the votes of the American people. So of course they're going to say that, but I think that whole position changed when Trump won, and they're like, oh shit, we don't have all the votes, so let's go ahead and get all these illegal immigrants in here, put them in blue states, you know, give them money, provide them with everything, so therefore we have their vote the next time an election comes around.
Illegal immigrants aren't swaying elections, though. Are they voting? I mean, I've always struggled to understand that kind of stuff. What we'll say is, when we went to Dallas to go to that rock bridge thing, like this event for like Chris Buskirk and J.D. Vance have this foundation, which is in itself pretty fascinating, because it's an attempt to replace the infrastructure that was lost when the union movement fell apart and when formerly Democrat voters started to vote Republican around, you know, Trump. They realized they couldn't direct them. You know, and they started all these chapters around things like hunting and small business and all of these new ways to create organization once you can't economically loop people into categories where they can be sort of managed or whatever. Anyway, when we were landing in Dallas, we saw like a bunch of like sort of guys mostly
like
getting
ICE detainees.
It did not look good. It didn't look like the feeling when you see it was not a good feeling.
Well, no, but I'll tell you this. Just a couple of years ago, I saw almost the same thing, except it was the opposite when I flew into
flying in
airports. They were flying them in. They were giving them priority to go on flights. They were paying for their plane tickets to go wherever in this country. So again, that wasn't a good feeling either. It's like, why are we letting all these people in who didn't come in here the right way, and then giving them money, giving them EBT cards, all this other stuff that was going on it was all to sway their vote, to sway like, hey, We're the ones helping you out right now, not the Republicans. We're the ones giving you all this free stuff. So when you can vote, you know who to vote for. You know what I mean? So that's what I mean. It's two different dilemmas that are both wrong.
Thanks for watching the video. Have a look at this one over here, or join us Monday, Wednesday, and Friday on Rumble.